Two famous ghosts. I've had many paranormal experiences, and two of those were with spirits of people you've probably heard of. The Roosevelt, a true story. In late October 2006, I was in Hollywood, California with a dear friend for an event. On one night of our stay, we decided to take a Hollywood ghost tour. The tour met at the TCL, formerly Grauman's, Chinese Theater. We then walked the short distance to the Roosevelt Hotel, where this experience took place. At this time, I was still a bit skeptical of the paranormal, even though I'd had a few experiences when I was young. I was especially skeptical of ghost stories involving the spirits of celebrities. At this time in the Roosevelt, there was a famous mirror that I'd heard people have seen the image of Marilyn Monroe in. Having already heard about this mirror and being skeptical that people perhaps saw a smudge in the mirror and were convinced it was Marilyn, I zoned out a bit as the tour guide told the stories associated with it. I took note of some photos of Marilyn on the wall and thought it a bit kitschy. As the tour guide spoke, I faintly heard a second voice, that unmistakable voice of Marilyn Monroe, and thought now it was really kitschy of the hotel to play an interview or some tape of her in this area. After the guide finished speaking, I asked out of mild curiosity, since I hadn't been paying attention, what the audio of Marilyn was, an interview or maybe something taken from one of her films. The tour guide, my friend I had come with, and everyone else on the tour looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Not only was there no tape of her voice playing, there wasn't even any speakers in that area. The closest ones were over near a gift shop and had been playing oldies music. No one had heard the voice but me, and I hadn't even been paying attention. She might have been saying, "I was killed by the Kennedys," for all I know. I regret not paying attention when she reached out. I can only hope one day I'll hear her again. The mirror no longer hangs there, and I'm unsure if it's even still in the hotel, much less in an area the public could see it. I guess I'll never know what she was trying to tell me. If anyone else hears her, pay attention. Hollywood Forever, a true story. In 1926, the world lost one of the first superstars of the silver screen, and the outpouring of grief was something unseen for that time. Rudolph Valentino, the Sheik, the original Latin lover and heartthrob of millions throughout the world, died at the age of 31 in New York while on a promotional tour for his last film, The Son of the Sheik. An estimated 100,000 people lined the streets at his funeral, and mass hysteria and riots ensued. His body was taken by train cross-country to be laid to rest at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, where a second funeral was held. Although there were grand plans for his final resting place, he remains in the temporary crypt gifted by his dear friend June Mathis, who is buried next to him. As a lover of old films, and especially silent films, I'd been wanting to visit his grave for ages. I finally got the chance in January 2011 when I took a trip to Hollywood with a friend who also had a great interest in seeing it. We had never been to the cemetery before, and the maps were incredibly hard to read. We knew he was in a certain mausoleum, but had no idea where, so we figured we'd just wander around. To this day, I can't explain what happened next. As soon as we crossed the threshold of the mausoleum, I turned to my friend and said, very matter-of-factly, I know where he is." I then walked directly to his grave, stopping in front of it as if I'd been there many times. I didn't hear a voice. I wasn't pulled or physically led there. I have no idea how that happened. If you get the chance to visit the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, you'll see what I mean about the maps, unless they've changed them since I've been there. There are lots of graves and monuments to check out, and I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful place. They even hold movie screenings there sometimes. Each year since his death, there is a memorial service held for Rudolph Valentino at the cemetery. It's a testament to his life and legacy that he hasn't been forgotten and remains loved by so many still. If you're interested in seeing any of his films, I highly recommend The Son of the Sheik, The Eagle, The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and Blood and Sand.